let's talk about a stuck back, lack of articulation in the spine. So, have you ever felt like when you bend forward or when you twist, or when you extend back or any kind of side bends or anything, do you feel like part of your spine is working and part of your spine is kind of stuck? This is a common complaint that I hear. So let's talk about this a little bit. So I have this very handy dandy tool, courtesy of Worthington Holistic Health Center. So imagine that this is your spine and each of these beads is a vertebra. So the yellow, and it doesn't matter which is on top, which is on bottom, because this stuckness, this lack of articulation can occur anywhere in the spine. It's super common though in the mid to upper thoracic. So we're going to talk about it as if it's sort of in the upper back today. So if you imagine the yellow beads being the mobile vertebrae, the ones that are articulating, that are able to move increment by increment through their movement in any sort of forward bend or extension, etc. So watching this, so you can see this first one here kind of pulls forward and it's able to move independently of the others. And then each one kind of waits its turn, right? Until eventually you get to this red area, which, watch this. Oh, look at that. They can't move independently of each other. They're all stuck together. And then finally we get to the point where, okay, once again, we can move the vertebrae independently of one another. Okay, so if you can imagine this as your spine, look there. Oh, okay. So it's also similar if you can imagine like a bicycle chain, each link of the chain waiting until its turn, that last minute to go around the curve. You can picture your spine that way if you were sort of leaning against a wall and nodding your head forward and letting each single vertebra kind of articulate on its own. You could picture that bicycle chain image or simply this image. Now, what happens when you have mobility here and not here, or here and not here, or both, is in order to find flexibility in the spine, the two vertebrae that are closest to the area that's stuck, they're going to be pulling more, trying to get that flexibility. So they're going to be trying to get this locked part to unlock. So what that means is they're going to start to get pulled in sort of hypermobile, but not in a good way at this point and this point, because your spine is trying to find movement and it's trying to make up for what it's lacking here. So let's talk about what you can do then to sort of unstick your spine and find more flexibility, more fluidity in your whole spine. So surprise, your vertebrae, your spine is attached to your ribs, right? So if we are stuck, say this is sort of the area, this is a really common area for people to get that stuckness. So if we are stuck, what do you think that means for other areas? Well, looky here. Your ribs attach right here to your vertebrae, and each vertebra has a corresponding rib. So for instance, T1 corresponds with rib 1. So here's your very top rib up here. I call it the necklace rib. It's way up high. Take note of how high it comes. It's actually sort of behind your collarbone. And it corresponds with your T1 vertebra, and so on down the line. So T1 rib 1, T2 rib 2, etc. So once you've identified which vertebra or vertebrae are stuck and not articulating, then you can be pretty sure that the ribs that correspond are also fairly stuck. And then here's another shocker. So not only do the ribs attach to the spine, but follow them around and they attach to the sternum. So if we are locked up back here in the spine, we're probably going to be locked up in the ribs surrounding it, and we're most likely also going to be locked up all the way around, coming all the way to the front to the sternum. So what can you do to start to unstick? Well, it's very detailed work. It's a process, but one of the first things you can do is start to loosen the ribs at their attachment points to both the sternum and the spine. And you can do that with a small Yamana ball, either a black or a navy, or you can do it obviously through other modalities too. You could have a practitioner use their hands to manually sort of palpate the area. But the idea is that you're trying to kind of wriggle loose at each place where there's a juncture between rib and vertebra. And again, you can do this at the front and the back. So to try to show you all that right now in a sequence would take up a lot of time, but this is sort of a preview of our approach when someone is really locked up in their spine, whether it's up high, middle, or low, we can find the locking up pattern in the corresponding ribs, start to undo, wriggle that free, and voila, we start to find a looser, more fluid, more flexible, more stable spine.